After the welcoming reception of survival into Black Ops 7 with Van Dorn Farm, how does Treyarch deliver with the next survival experience? When Treyarch announced survival, they stated more maps would release along the live seasons, but many saw that as a negative. The question is, why drip feed these maps that come from a collected experience, such as Ashes of the Damned, when they can be released all at once like Transit from BO2? Although both sides have negatives and positives, Treyarch took the approach of spacing out the releases of the survival maps. So with Ashes of the Damned being a transit-like experience, there are multiple points of interest. In this case of survival, we were first introduced with Van Dorn Farm, which was inspired by the farm POI from Transit. So what POI did Treyarch decide to go for the second survival experience? Well, it's no other than Exit 115, aka Reba's Diner. This diner is inspired by the diner from Transit, being the second Transit-inspired locale in Ashes, which works well with the theming of the releases and inspiration of the map. But how does Exit 115 fare to the previous survival experiences, and what flavor does it bring? Well, join me as we look at the many aspects of Exit 115 survival, such as atmosphere, gameplay, and differences. So with no time to waste, let's get right into it. As previously mentioned, Exit 115 is a POI on Ashes of the Damned, so it's expected to use the same exact dark, beautiful, eerie skybox and existing areas around the location. Due to the enclosed survival experience, the gates that we would previously use on Ashes to explore most of the map are closed, and they are massive, blocking most of the outside view. But when looking at the out-of-bounds areas, we can see the beautiful landscape of the snow forest and land. It goes on, and it allows this great view of the skybox that gives you an idea of what this part of the Dark Ether is like. And due to the positioning of this POI on the map, it makes Exit 115 feel like a real-life roadside diner that you would stop at in the middle of nowhere on a road trip. If you look above the POI, you can see the freeway road where the exit is connected to, and it fits very well with the concept of the map. I wish we could explore the freeway itself. Whenever it grabs my attention, I always think, man, that would have been a cool playable space on the map. But Exit 115 already has enough spectacle. Striking down from the sky is a dark ether beam, which makes it seem like it's the reason the road above is destroyed. And due to it, we can see floating debris and vehicles covered with dark ether energy. Throughout the rest of the POI, there are multiple floating vehicles that also play a role into the map's geometry. But the main center of attention of this survival map is the diner itself, aka Reba's Diner, giving a classic diner vibe that is almost nostalgic. The neon on the sign, the lights wrapped around the building, and the hue of mixed colors the diner gives off, it's very retro and I love it. But I do wish the sign spelled die, like the diner from Transit. Inside of the diner, it gives those 50s to 60s classic vibes, with memorabilia and a familiar feeling place within it. It feels like somewhere you've been before. It's almost eerie, but like I said, it's more nostalgic. In the back of the diner, we can find the dumpster area, which is nothing crazy. But across the street is a service garage called McDougall's Garage. Pretty funny name. It's a pretty standard garage though, with a vehicle getting worked on and a customer's desk/room next to it. And next to the garage is a gas station pump area, which fits well with the small exit stop type of vibe they're going for. The atmosphere, identity, and concept of this POI has an obvious idea of what it wants to be, and it sticks to it. It's beautiful with the map's purple, blue, neon ethereal feel all across it, and nostalgic with the roadside American diner. The gameplay loop of Exit 115 is pretty standard and very similar to the rest of Black Ops 7. You have access to all of the resources that are a norm in modern zombies, and this survival experience doesn't do anything to shake up the basic gameplay loop in any significant way. Similar to Van Dorn Farm, the way you play the map is basically the same, but there are a few differences, so let's see how Exit 115 stands on its own. Obviously, the most unique thing about the map is, well, the map, or in this case, the map layout. Exit 115 goes along this main street that is accompanied by a diner, gas station, and service garage. With the diner and garage having tight interior spaces, the gas station takes place outside with just clutter around it. And across the main street are also large semi-trucks to kind of mess up the flow a little bit, but they don't do much to disrupt you, as jumping and parkour play a significant role in your movement. But what differs this map compared to survival experiences from the past is the slight verticality. See, the rooftops of these structures are accessible and play a big role in how you interact with the map. Whether it's an escape point or running for safety, the rooftops are great to make this map layout feel unique. Oh, and you remember those floating cars? Well, thanks to wall jumping, you can parkour your way around this small map. It's a great touch and gives the map a bit of its own personality. As expected, most of our resources like Pack-a-Punch and Wonder Fizz are inside of these tight interior spaces, with only a few resources like the Mystery Box, Arsenal Machine, and Ammo Crates being outside, meaning the player needs to figure out when the time is right to go for what they need, because if not, they'll have a difficult time with a ton of zombies around, especially in the garage. There's basically no room to do anything in there but to get what you need and get out. Like Van Dorn Farm, there are things from Ashes of the Dam that get carried forward into Exit 115. We find our friend Chompy here and the Sawblade Trap. Yes, that Sawblade Trap. But also included in the Exit 115 survival experience from the POI is the vending machine. When hitting the machine, it can drop various loot, from salvage, points, a perk, a bag of chips, or a ray gun, which is all fantastic loot. But you can only hit the machine once a round, and sometimes you might not even get anything. When hitting the vending machine with Melee Macchiato, it destroys it, dropping a ton of loot, and I believe the higher round you're on doing so, the greater loot you get. In my opinion, this is a great supplement for the plant system that we saw on Van Dorn Farm, even though in the Exit 115 POI on Ashes, we can find the plants we can irrigate. When going inside of the diner, in the kitchen you can find a free tomahawk there, like a tomahawk steak. I don't know if that was intentional, but lastly, you can get a free bonus points by shooting the drop under a specific car at the top of the freeway bridge. Well, that's where we thought the carry forward stopped. There was an update not too long ago where we gained access to spawn Klaus into the survival maps. And it wasn't just added to Exit 115, it was added to all the survival maps that are from Ashes of the Damned. Previously, the radios were dormant, but now you can call Klaus in by interacting with the radios. Unsure if this was intentional or a bug, but it is a very interesting choice. As I previously mentioned on my Van Dorn Farm survival review, I was going over this idea where modern zombies is having a problem with mode-to-mode uniqueness, and how that might taint the survival maps. Well, here in Exit 115, we see that occurring, with Klaus being added to the map way after its release, which in my opinion makes no sense in any form. Not only are you carrying something forward that was unique to the original Ashes experience, but you aren't even making it unique to a specific survival map. So let's say this, right? If Treyarch aren't going to separate the feel of survival and standard experiences in the basic gameplay loop, they should at least make the survival maps themselves feel different from each other, with the things they decide to bring forward from the standard experiences. Example, Van Dorn Farm has the plant irrigation system and Exit 115 has the vending machine. Okay, good. But then you have Chompy and the Sawblade Trap on both of these survival maps, which yes, I do understand they were both on the original POIs on Ashes, but it wouldn't be hard to restrict them in the survival experiences. Like, why can't we just keep the Sawblade Trap offline in Exit 115, or make Chompy unusable in Van Dorn Farm? Make these small systems you carry forward from the main experience unique to a specific survival map. This is how I think you meet a decent middle ground where each survival experience feels different from each other even though the basic gameplay loop is similar. If every survival map has a small unique thing exclusive to that survival experience from the main map, it would be healthier for the mode, rather than pumping every little unique system into every survival map from said standard experience. Although yes, this issue of lack of uniqueness from survival map to survival map is prominent at this point, Exit 115 does not fail at achieving the main goal of survival experience. The simplicity of survival is strong here in Exit 115, and I think it does a better job than Van Dorn Farm. When entering the map, you are met outside with the main street, with the diner and service garage only being accessible by buying the doors, but the rooftops are automatically accessible and also serve as a decent area to slay the undead. But the thing that differs this map from Van Dorn Farm off spawn is there is no power to activate, meaning everything is available for use once you gain access to it by opening up the map. This is how it worked in survival back in Black Ops 2, just getting straight into the action. From the jump, all you need to do is survive. Very simple, and in my opinion is the better way to go about it compared to the power in Van Dorn Farm. But what type of enemies do we go against in this Exit 115 survival experience? Well, the same ones we went against in Van Dorn Farm. Exit 115 is a part of the original Ashes experience, so it makes sense to use the same enemy types. So our Ravengers and regular and special rounds, and the Zersa. Oh, and how can I forget the round 40 and above Doppelgas? Now, I don't mind this roster of enemies on this map, and I can't see how it's justified for them to be present, but instead of adding a new type of enemy, they could have just removed one of them. So maybe remove the Doppelgas from the Exit 115 experience, or don't have Ravenger rounds. Although different and many might not agree, giving each survival map its own taste is a plus. The word I've been trying to get across for these maps is diversity. But again, I don't have a major issue with the same enemy roster being present in Exit 115. So what powerhouse of weapons do we have to take down the enemies in this map? Well, the exact same list of wonder weapons as Van Dorn Farm. The Ray Gun Mark II, and the Necrofluid Gauntlet. Same situation with the enemy roster. I don't have any particular issues with the same wonder weapons, but maybe take out the Necrofluid Gauntlet on this experience. One suggestion that has been echoed through the community is that Treyarch should have unique wonder weapons for each survival map. So for Van Dorn Farm to keep the Necro, and for Exit 115 they could have brought over the Jet Gun. I personally love this idea. It gives the survival maps more of a reason to visit outside of just basic survival. I don't know how difficult this could have been, but I thought the COD HQ was designed to make things like this happen. It would be fantastic to see this suggestion come to life, and Treyarch could always go back and possibly add them. But just like Van Dorn Farm, there is that one thing that makes the high rounds and survival much easier here in Exit 115, and that is the Saw Blade Trap. Like I mentioned earlier, I would have preferred if it wasn't present in this experience, but since it is, I won't talk about it long. It's a strong trap and so far runs the survival high round experience at this point. I would like to point out that I do understand there are other strats like with toxic growth or just basic training, but the Saw Blade Trap is the most safe and one of the most efficient ways to climb the rounds. The Saw Blade Trap should have stayed on Van Dorn Farm. I'm not a fan of it, moving on. You see these patterns of things being the same across the survival maps. It's almost like having 5 Lamborghinis that are the same type, but each one has a different coat of paint. Like yes, I like my 5 Lamborghinis and how they all have different colors, but maybe something different would be cool. Anyways, unlike my Van Dorn Farm review where Cursed had its own dedicated section, that will not be the case here, as Curse is mainly a gameplay centric thing versus the map itself. So I will talk on the Curse mode a bit. It plays wonderfully. With more and more classic-like relics getting added, I see myself playing classic-like zombies on the survival maps as I get that feel of OG zombies. Ever since its introduction to survival, it has been my go-to to play the mode outside of camo grinding. Curse is fantastic, and the rewards for playing the mode on survival are also nice. I don't see a situation where Cursed on these survival maps would hinder the experience. So, the main survival experience is great on this map, with the ability to get straight into it without power needed and a pleasant time progressing. Although familiar foes are present, it doesn't damage the experience, and the same could be said about the wonder weapons. But the small unique systems in the map need to be more exclusive going from survival map to survival map. And as expected, Curse mode works well and flows great on this experience. But like I said, yes, the standard survival experience is great, but the other factors of the map leave something different to be sought out for. Like Van Dorn Farm and all of the survival maps going forward, we are going to be awarded for our time and rounds on the survival maps. So the survival challenges for Exit 115 are to reach round 10 to unlock the Chef Special Emblem and 1000 XP, reach round 25 to unlock the Ravaged Charm and 2500 XP, and finally reach round 50 to gain a free Perkaholic Gobblegum and 5000 XP. Pretty decent rewards, and seems to be the pattern of the standard survival rewards. An Emblem, Charm, and Ultra Gobblegum. Nothing exciting, but worth your time in my opinion, especially the round 50 Gobblegum. Now for Cursed, the survival challenges are to complete round 25 with tier 1 relics to gain a free Raindrops Gobblegum and 10,000 XP, Complete round 50 with tier 2 relics to gain a free near-death experience gobblegum and 20,000 XP, and finally complete round 75 with tier 3 relics to unlock the Dragon's Wings charm and 30,000 XP. Good rewards that make Curse Survival worth playing. Ultra Gobblegums are always a plus, and an exclusive charm that's unique to Curse makes it worth it. And what's even better is the Dragon Wings charm is animated, so you can see the wings moving on your weapon. Such a cool charm and good reward. Overall, good rewards that don't hurt to go for. Exit 115 is a good survival experience that allows you to get straight into the action, with a beautiful nostalgic look with the roadside diner vibe going on and the dark ether spectacle present. The gameplay loop has the standard flow that we are used to at this point and doesn't do anything to change up the formula. With some of the small systems being brought over from the original Ashes of the Damned map, Exit 115 runs into the issues of lack of mode-to-mode uniqueness, which seems won't be changing anytime soon. A possible middle ground would be to make each survival map feel distinct by taking some of the smaller systems from the original experience and making them exclusive to the different survival maps that come from said original map. But no, Exit 115 fails at diversing itself enough from Van Dorn Farm, where it feels like almost the exact same, almost like nothing more than a different coat of paint. Yes, the parkour and vending machine are unique to this survival experience, but don't do much to affect how you play the map. Exit 115 follows a formula for better or worse. If you are looking for something with a unique twist as a survival map, you are not going to find it. But if you are looking for another playground to grind weapons and get straight into the action with a nostalgic feel, then this survival map executes on that perfectly. The survival aspect of this experience is strong here, and does what a survival map needs to do. A slightly different direction from Van Dorn Farm, but not enough to make it unique in the gameplay category. Exit 115 is a good addition to the survival map roster within Black Ops 7, but clearly, there is something more to be desired.